For today, in the name of freedom, we take the battle to them.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Minecraft movie came out last week, and I honestly was not going to watch this until just, it was probably because of all the freaking chicken jockey memes, but I decided, you know what, let me just bite the bullet. I'll just watch this just for the memes, because I do not expect this movie to be good. I don't even expect it to be decent. Holy shit, it was so much worse than I ever could have imagined. The best part about it was the chicken jockey scene, which just roll a clip, honestly.
No, 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 get ready. No, 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 shit. Please don't, bro, stop. I'm begging you. Chicken jockey. Oh my god. I don't know what's wrong with our generation, bro. Oh my god.
For context, obviously, that is like mainly an American thing, to scream and shout in the cinema, even in India, I know. South Africa, you never get that. Never ever. The biggest reaction I ever heard from an audience was just a couple claps when Toby and Andrew showed up in No Way Home. But an audience reaction like that, what the hell? And there wasn't even like a particularly large cinema. It was just pretty full. So I was amazed at that, sort of that elicited that reaction. But anyway, that aside, let's just talk about whatever the frick this movie was, because this is probably the worst way to do a video game movie. And it is so painful because as a child, I never played any of these freaking games. I never played Sonic. I never played Mario. I never played. I guess I never played Minecraft when I was small, but that Minecraft is like the only game that I actually, from the popular games people talk about, is the only game I ever played. Sonic, the first movie was alright. Second and third movie, though, absolutely phenomenal. Freaking the Mario movie, I know, was just great for a lot of people. I mean, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I know a lot of people loved it. So, of course, the movie based on the one game I actually care about ends up being this. They decided, you know what? We're just going to make it live action. Quote unquote, live action. We're going to have these horrific green screens. And this movie, oh my god. What the hell, man? I usually try and start off with the positives with these reviews, but there really isn't anything positive I can give this movie other than the environment itself. Everything to do with the Minecraft world, I think, was stunning. It was gorgeous. And of course, I mean, spoilers, obviously, but I mean, I don't think you actually care. Apart from the main environment itself, I think that easily the best scene of the movie was the Enderman scene, because that was freaking awesome. Because, I mean, it did give us an unofficial Herobrine, and, I mean, that's pretty cool, even though Jack Black was horrifically miscast as Steve. I feel like you could have gotten someone way better to be Steve. As much as I love Jack Black, I love him. For Steve, get out of here. Although I will say the best thing about the scene was that it gave us like an evil Emma Myers, and I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna say anything because that would be deemed inappropriate. Actually, never mind. I can say it. She's hot. I thought she was like 19 or something. Damn. But yeah, apart from the Enderman scene, the environment, and a few, very, very few moments of unintentional comedy being freaking hilarious, this movie sucks. I think the only other good thing was the the mention of Technoblade. You know, that was really, really nice. Of course, that is one thing that I saw going into the movie. Before I went into the movie, is of course that there is a little memorial for Technoblade there with the pig with the crown, and I love that Jack Black. Steve, just says that is a legend. But yeah, that's as far as the positives go for this thing. Everything else is utter dog shit. The screenplay, the movie begins with one of the worst exposition dumps I have ever seen in a film. It is absolutely atrocious. It's literally just Jack Black speaking as Steve for about 10 freaking minutes saying, "Oh yeah, my life was boring, but I was creative." And then all of a sudden, and like the dialogue itself is just terrible. And he's like, "I'm mine and mine and I mine my brains out." Oh my god, it is just I think that this is genuinely the worst dialogue I've ever experienced in a film. But we'll get to specifics later on. Just the general story here is Steve goes to the overworld. He enters the overworld, and all of a sudden just knows what to do. Doesn't even struggle. We don't even get to see when he figures out how you can build stuff. And then he comes across a ruined portal and enters the Nether, where he is then captured. And you know, of course, before he enters the Nether, he builds a bunch of shit. But really, as soon as he enters the Nether, he is captured by the main evil piglin woman thing. I don't know what the frick you call it. But whatever her name is, she captured him. And he has been captured this entire time. And basically she said, you are going to do this, once the real people enter the world. She's like, right, you are going to bring me this Tesseract, and otherwise I will kill your dog. I will kill Dennis. And Steve obviously tries to trick her into doing it, or into believing him, which, oh god, just explaining it is making me lose brain cells. The story genuinely feels like it was written by a 5-year-old, because you have that, and then all of a sudden they get it. The piglins come to the overworld, they get the Tesseract, and then they start blocking out the sun. Which, that is a decent plan. Except the main piglin's goal, thing that she kept bringing up throughout the movie, is that she wanted more gold. Which, I mean, if you're in the Nether and need gold, then you're just not looking hard enough. But she keeps saying throughout the movie, "Bring me gold! I need more gold!" And then all of a sudden her plan is actually to block out the sun in the overworld and then just spread the nether wart. What? What the fuck? How does those things even correlate with each other, man? And, that's pretty much it. That is basically the entire plot. Because even the human characters you have here, of course, this is very much a Jumanji ripoff, which is done... It's done terribly, but you bring in the real human characters, 2 of which are siblings, and their mom died, I assume. And the sister is like the guardian of the kid, which they do nothing with that story. Then you have Jason Momoa, who is basically the main character, along with Steve. He was, Game of the Year 1989. That's as far as his character goes. And he's poor. Then you have the farm woman. That's her entire character, is farm woman. And that's it. That is literally your cast. A bunch of characters who you do not give a shit about. At least in Jumanji, you have characters who are entertaining. What the fuck are these things, man? They're just generic NPCs. Like the dialogue that was meant to be, I guess, emotional was just really like cheesy and horrible, and like, oh my god, it was so uncomfortable to sit through. It really, really was. But let me just talk about some of the absolutely atrocious dialogue in this movie. I'm not going to bring up everything, because otherwise we will be here all day. Literally, we will be Captain America. And I'll just bring up a few examples. The first one being Jason Momoa saying, I think when they're on the bridge or whatever it is, he's on the floor, and General Chungus is holding a sword above him, or the piglins, and Jason Momoa is saying, let me tell you something. I am not gonna lie, I sank in my seat. My back was on the part where my ass was meant to be. I literally could not believe what I was witnessing when I watched that. He just did the meme, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Because this was, a fair amount after some other lines that were really, really terrible, but that was probably the worst one. I think that's probably the worst line in the entire movie. And it was just unbelievable. It was so, so bad. And another one, actually, no, sorry. This is the one that made me sink in my seat. The other one just made me go, what the fuck? This one made me sink in my seat and look at the ceiling. And that is when General Chungus is talking to the character, that is such a dumb fucking name, is looking at the characters and saying, sorry, mate, I gotta unalive you now. Brother, bro, what the frick? Oh my god, I could not believe what I was witnessing. He said unalive. That is just such horrific dialogue. Because obviously, if you don't get it, then, mainly on YouTube, you can't say, Kill yourself, so a lot of people just say unalive. So, yeah, that's just, oh my god, that's just atrocious dialogue. Horrific writing. As soon as I saw all their names for the screenplay at the beginning, I was like, you guys are all rubbish already. And just one more thing I would like to add. It's not really horrific writing, but this is just something that I noticed, is that, it doesn't take a genius to notice it, especially considering how iconic these memes have become. Which, by the way, that is such a dumb way for a movie to succeed, is for the generation, it's just for this generation to watch it for the stupidest memes possible. I, as a member of Gen Z, I do not associate myself with these fools, but the lines like "I am Steve" were they reshot them, which I find interesting, because in the original trailer, he was like, "I am Steve."
I am Steve.
But in the movie, it was very different.
I am Steve.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I much prefer how it sounded before, even though it sounded so dumb. It's better than how it was in the movie, where he's like, "Aye!" It sounds like he's choking on something. But yeah, so there was that, and the Flint and Steel was also different, because of course, in the trailer it's like Flint and Steel, but it sounded more normal in the movie. And then the Ender Pearl, of course, he says Ender Pearl in the trailer, whereas in the movie, he just says like, that's an Ender Pearl, he says it normally. So I find it interesting that they reshot those scenes and changed what was some, really famous memes. But anyway, just moving on from that, now let's get to my main complaint about this movie. Not the fact that the movie itself sucks, not that the dialogue sucks, not that the premise is absolutely basic as fuck, but as a person who has played the game, there are countless things which pissed me off to no end. And I'm not even like a Minecraft veteran. I've only played this game for 4 years, 5 years. Not even 5 years. It's not even. It hasn't even been that long. But there's so many things where I'm like, why would you do that? Why does this look like that? That doesn't make any sense. So let's just start with some of them, right? Also, there was one scene where they were the Jack Black and Jason Momoa were in some strange positions where Jack Black was grabbing his ass and they flew through the hole of a bridge as opposed to going over the net of the bridge. And my one friend kept bringing that up. And to that friend, you know who you are. They're very, very pissed about this. But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up before we get into the game mechanic side of things, which, starting off, right, let's just get the obvious one out of the way, is that this movie makes no fucking sense because the story that we have is Steve went into the overworld, he spent some time there, was building shit, and then as soon as he got to the Nether, he was captured. And he has remained captured until all the way up until our main characters end up in the overworld. That's when he is released. Meaning that he could not have done anything. So, how does this man have at least 3 elytras? Because he said when he was giving them to Jason Momoa and the kid, he was like, I thought I grabbed 3. So, how does he have 3 elytras if he was in the Nether captured the entire time? Meaning, he could not find a fortress, he couldn't get the blaze rods, he couldn't get the ender pearls, he couldn't kill the fucking dragon, and having at least 3 elytras means that he has found 3 end cities. And how would he be able to do that if he never found a fortress? Or even left the area that he was in when he entered the Nether. Because he basically entered in their base. I honestly think they should have just done the Minecraft movie the way that they were going to, with the animated Steve and have the Ender Dragon be the big boss. Because I think that Minecraft, like that movie would be so cool, to have it be the story of the game. You go, you get your Ender Pearls, you get your Blaze Rods, you kill the dragon. I feel like that would be such a cool premise. But in the movie, they just go, oh yeah, no, he just has elytras. He hasn't killed the dragon or anything. He hasn't gotten to the end, but he has elytras magically. So that was an issue. Just moving on to the stash scene, which I don't know why I didn't call it inventory, but anyway. Steve says, oh yeah, diamond armor, full set, which, that's not a full set, buddy. That's not a full set. There's no leggings. There's no fucking leggings, Steve. And I couldn't believe it. Because, I could somewhat forgive it if this is the only set, like the most armor we see of something. But there's no leggings. And it doesn't make sense because in this shot, we literally see iron armor over there. And you can see it has leggings. So why does Steve go ahead and say to a set of armor with no leggings, oh yeah, diamond armor, full set? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense. God damn it. Another thing that doesn't make sense is, you see that lectern on the right there? They literally show that he has a librarian held captive in his stash room, when nothing is enchanted. Nothing he has is enchanted. Not a single piece of armor, not his sword, nothing. It is absolute, it's so painful. Another thing, I don't know if you can see on that shelf there, were the things that look like crackers, Christmas crackers. Those are meant to be golden carrots, and I know that this was in like the first trailer, but golden carrots in the game are mostly triangular shaped. These things are just blocks. But honestly, probably the worst one here is next to the Boots of Swiftness. I don't know if that's it 100%, but there were golden apples in the movie, I believe in chests, and the golden apples were blocks, when in the game, they are round. Another huge issue I had, I know this isn't impossible in the game, but it still was very stupid, is in this movie, obviously there is a villager, there is a village, and it is in a regular biome. I actually forgot what you call the regular grassland biome, but anyway, it's in a normal biome. And yes, there's snow on top of all the mountains. Why in this regular village does it have snow villagers? What? Oh my god. It had snow villages, and on top of that, it had a wandering trader with only one llama. Why? The only thing that I can think of is that the wandering trader there had one llama, and then when the piglins attack the village, we see another lone llama. But that one doesn't seem to have any sort of carpet or, lead or anything like that. So I think that is just a stray llama. But holy shit, like I appreciate the attention to detail, but if you're gonna do something, do it right. Why would you half-ass things like this? The piglins as well, I thought were incredibly stupid because the whole point of them is that they can't come into the overworld, and they did demonstrate that in the beginning, to be fair, when they were chasing Steve, that when they come into the overworld they turn into zombie piglins. But then they decide, oh yeah, we're just gonna make it so that if they eat the nether wart, then they don't burn, they don't turn into zombies. So yeah, that's a thing now. That's just a magical thing that we've done. God, this was such a painful film. And of course, speaking of that villager raid, why do I keep saying villager? That village raid, that should have been the Illagers. I don't know why they decided to make the piglins the villains of the movie, when if you wanted to have a kind of army threat, you should have had it be the Illagers, because the Illagers are what cause the villagers to sound the bell, to ring the bell and go hide in their homes. Why was it piglins this time? Of course, jumping off of that point, the Woodland Mansion. What the hell? The chests had stuff in them, and I don't know if you've been to a Woodland Mansion, but everyone I've been to, 90% of the chests in the chest rooms were empty. So I don't know why they had like random things just chucked in. I know that the one box had a totem of undying. I don't know if it was actually. I don't know if that was in the Woodland Mansion or if that was in the stash room. But anyway, there was that, and then another part about that village raid, which I absolutely hated, was that they just completely destroyed the men just for another girl power scene. I still stand on a pedestal saying, well, I stand on a pedestal. I still hold The Boys season 2, that finale, for having probably the best girl power scene in anything I have seen. But this is probably going to be extremely controversial, me saying it. But yeah, hey ho, what you gonna do? I'm not a hold back kind of person. So this scene, Jason Momoa knocks out Steve. He knocks him out clean with the bucket chucks. And then Jason Momoa gets thrown around like he's nothing, like he's a cowering wimp. And then for some odd reason, the farmer woman with whatever tool she had, I think it was a shovel, and Emma Myers with a hoe, they just take on this entire army with no struggle. They just throw them around like they're nothing. And it's like, okay, really, we're doing this in a Minecraft movie? Seriously? We're doing like one of the worst girl power scenes ever. They just can magically just do this without an issue. And that I hated. The fact that not only that they were just completely, like they knew what they were doing there, but the fact they weren't even using weapons. They were using a hoe and a shovel, which, by the way, that first night when Jason Momoa falls down a hole into an old mine, he just magically gets a shovel. I don't know if I missed it. I probably did, because half the movie I sort of got extremely bored. But anyway, I swear that shovel just magically appeared in his hands. So so there was that. And then on top of that, we never got to see any of the characters kind of experience the world and learn how things actually work here. Because one of the dumbest things is the main kid being like, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, he's a creative person, he's a creative kid, and just because he's a creative kid means that he can make things that aren't in the Minecraft inventory. He can just make these random things that shoot pops. I don't know. And honestly, one more thing as far as the game mechanics go is that Steve just finds a ruined portal with like almost with everything being just obsidian, not a single piece of crying obsidian there. And he just is able to complete the portal. The chances of that, while not zero, they are fairly low of that happening. Um, there was that, and the first thing that he sees when he enters the world is a pink sheep, which are incredibly rare. So that's bullshit as well. And that's just the tip of the iceberg for all the things in this movie that just didn't make sense as far as the game goes. And there really wasn't anything in this movie that was good. Um, and I don't even know because the songs as well. Jack Black is literally just himself. He's just playing Jack Black, and you can see it, especially when he's singing like the chicken, like the lava chicken song, the ending song, is just him being him. And like as much as I love Jack Black, he could have at least tried to be a different character here. But yeah, ultimately, everyone goes home, and that's it until the post-credit scene, where we learn that Alex not only exists, but she actually lives where Steve used to live. And that is really interesting because as much as I really did not like this movie, I will be watching the second one. I will whenever it does come out, probably 2027, 2028. But yeah, and having Alex there would be cool. But just looking at this movie, I don't understand how you had all these content creators here, who love Minecraft, who've played it for so long, 10 plus years, 12 plus years, and yet there were so many issues with the game mechanics. There were so many issues as far as the writing, and just some really strange ass memes go. But how do you have all of them and this movie still ends up being rubbish? And I think what sucks here is that this movie is like it's made for nobody, because Sonic, the general audiences enjoy it. I am general audience. Again, never played a Sonic game, and I think that Sonic 3 is the best video game film to ever exist. But those three movies aren't really enjoyable to the general audiences. It's just that people who played the games will enjoy it more. The Mario movie, I am a general audience member. I did not really care for that movie, but everyone who played Mario absolutely loved that film. But for Minecraft, the movie is terrible. So, like, everything as far as the writing goes, oh my god, that reminds me of something I'll get into just now. Let me just stay on track. As far as a general movie goes, it's god-awful. The dialogue is atrocious. The characters are empty. The green screen at times is absolutely horrible. People crapped on Captain America Brave New World for having bad green screens. Piss off. This is a million times worse. And that's general audiences. So as a movie, it's garbage. But it's worse for people who played the game, because 80% of the movie is just Jack Black like saying things from the game, like, these are the villagers, that's redstone, these are diamonds, this is flint and steel, chicken jockey. It's the same fucking shit over and over and over and over again. It feels like a walkthrough of Minecraft for like the bare basic babies. That's what it feels like. It's just Jack Black spelling shit out for over an hour. And it's painful. It really, really is. So I don't know who this was meant for, because for general audiences, the movie is rubbish. For people who played the game, they're not even faithful to the things and mechanics of the game. So, yeah, I don't know how this movie has broken even already, but anyway, one storyline which I completely forgot about, and honestly, I don't blame myself for, is the whole Jennifer Coolidge storyline with the Nitwit. And the Nitwit is, of course, the most useless villager in the game, where he can't get a job, you can't trade with him, and he fucks Jennifer Coolidge. Um, this was the most pointless, most sickening part of the film, if I'm gonna be honest with you. It was god awful. I don't know why they thought this was a good idea. Especially when you get to the end of the movie, during the credits, when the villager speaks human English. What the fuck? This subplot was freaking useless. And the thing is, I'm not really the kind of person to complain about a subplot being useless, because it's just there for entertainment. This was not funny. It wasn't funny in the slightest. It was just awful and horrifically awkward. And you have the scene where they literally go on a date, and everyone around them is just carrying on with their day as if there isn't a fucking giant ass Lego person, like Lego looking person, sitting next to them. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. So, oh god, I hate this movie. Look, there's been films that I've seen in the cinemas which I really did not like. Kung Fu Panda 4 being one of them. Halloween Ends being one of them. This, though, this is probably the worst movie that I have watched in a cinema, well, at least in a very long time. Because, wow. I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking with this. I don't know how this even made it past production. I don't even know how it's making money right now. Actually, yes, I do. It's because of the bloody 12-year-olds and 16-year-olds going to watch this, who are just, going for the memes. And, I say that. That's the only reason I went and watched it, is for the memes. But I don't know. I guess I'm part of the problem, really. I'm being very hypocritical. I'm criticizing them for watching the movie when really I supported the movie as well. So, yeah, I guess screw me, I guess. But yeah, it is very sad seeing a movie like this make the money it's making when, actually good movies, Novocaine, Transformers 1, I haven't seen Mickey 17, but it's on my list, trust me. That's another original movie which I know didn't do very well. Novocaine, though, I have seen, and that deserves to do well at the box office. It's such a shame seeing good movies like those flop when movies like this, movies that are absolute rubbish, that are garbage, and they do so well at the box office just because of memes, just because of how stupid our generation is, and what we find funny, and what we decide to support. And I think it's becoming an issue, but I think that's something that I would have said at the beginning of the video, but really it's already an issue, because there are cinemas in the US which are already saying, like, okay, for 40x you can, like, exclusively to 40x you can watch a Minecraft movie, but with a really noisy audience, be as loud as you want. So this generation and what we have decided to do as far as theater etiquette goes has influenced the cinemas themselves, has influenced the CEOs of said cinemas to completely change how they work. And it's horrible. It's horrible, especially seeing what people have done in the cinemas, mainly for that chicken jockey scene, throwing the popcorn, throwing drinks at people, throwing it at the screen, bringing the fucking live chicken there. It's horrible. It really, really is. And I don't think that this movie deserves the money that it's making. And it really just goes to show how we have sort of regressed as far as intelligence goes, you know, for our generation. And it sucks. It really, really does, because this is something which it deserves to do terribly at the box office. It does. This thing deserves to cause a loss for Warner Brothers. But no, it's broken even. I'm sure it's turned a profit by now, and they are immediately talking about a sequel. And you know that for the sequel they will be embracing this meme factor, because you know our generation just takes any stupid fucking piece of dialogue and turns it into a quote unquote funny meme. Okay, no memes will beat the 2010s had the best memes. Okay, you know, you're in 2025, any line can become a meme, apparently. So, yeah, I think that's enough of me slaughtering Gen Z. Um, but yeah, please, I need everyone's thoughts on this movie, but also I need your thoughts on the impact that this is having, you know, in Hollywood, on audiences, and also on cinemas. Um, do you think that this is good? Do you, for some reason, think this is good? Because even the director was extremely insensitive about this whole thing, because he said, "Oh yeah, I'm loving that people are screaming. It's just popcorn and throwing things around. You know, they're being happy." And I'm like, "Okay, dude, you go clean up all that popcorn. You know, you go be the employee who has to sift through all of that and, you know, pick it up. You go do it then, you stupid idiot." Because, you know, he clearly has no concern for them, so I don't understand why he doesn't do it. So, yeah, please let me know your thoughts on this movie. Let me know, you know, are you a regular Minecraft player? Are you a long-term one? And you think I was perhaps being a bit too harsh on this movie, but honestly, as someone who went in with extremely low expectations, this has made Captain America Brave New World a movie which I said was decent. It's made it now look like an absolute masterpiece, because this movie was absolute garbage. So anything and everything, please let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you did enjoy this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, and goodbye.